I have very exciting news today. GreenStalk is actually releasing back some of their limited edition colors. So that means that the rusted red and the chocolate brown, the colors that I have back here, are going to be available again for a limited time. And they're having a sale on it from today to the 9th. They're also having that light green that they used to have and also the black. Make sure to check it out if you wanted to get any of these colors. And you can also stack my code for an extra discount. So I'll put some more information about it on the description down below. I'll put a link to their website and you can check everything out there. So today I also want to talk a bit more about the garden plans and everything that's been going on. If you watched the last garden tour, you saw that even though I cleaned up the plot, we now have lots of weeds growing there, so I do have to spend some time weeding if I want to plant something there. Now, because of the problem that we are having there with the pests, the rodents, I'm really more inclined to start growing more food here in the backyard. And maybe if I keep gardening over there at the plot, I'll probably just do flowers. We'll see how things progress through this fall. But for now, I really want to try to use my green stalks next year to try to grow food here for us, so that will be exciting. I'll try to be a bit more organized this year and make a better plan. Now I really have limited space. Our raised bed here in the backyard is probably also going to be dedicated for flowers, because even though we do not have rats in here, we have tons of alley cats and they tend to use the raised bed as their litter box. It's been really hard for me to try to control them, but to be honest, I would rather have them than rats in here, so it's okay for them to come, but I don't want to risk any contamination with the food back there. It's probably going to be dedicated for flowers as well, which really gonna make my green stalks in the containers the best places for me to grow food. So I really have to plan accordingly, and we'll see actually how that's gonna go. So some of you suggested that I grow a cover crop in the plot, but I am just a bit resistant to do that because they tend to get a little tall. Even the clover that I planted last year, came spring, they got super tall. That could be the perfect hiding space for the rats again. So I don't know if I should do that, even though I know it's super beneficial for the soil. But let me show you guys something. I was looking closer to this spot here and I realized that all of these things in between, they're not all weeds. I have some seedlings here. They are from something that I had in the pot nearby last spring, and they're just the drop seed and they're coming out now, which is larkspur. Those all look like larkspur seedlings to me, and that just gave me an idea that I could possibly maybe plant some cool flowers there. If you're not familiar with the term cool flowers, they're considered cool season hardy annuals. You usually plant them in the fall before the first frost, and they will overwinter as little baby plants to produce an early crop for you in the spring. I have read that there are many benefits in cool flowers because they get a chance to establish in the cold. They turn out the next spring a lot more pest resistant. I'm thinking that maybe I could try something like that there, so I have something growing during the winter, and then hopefully I'll have just an early season of cool flowers. Now, if you've been here for a while, you know that I tried to plant a lot of flowers this year for our wedding, and I started some of them very, very early as a test, and lots of them did very well. So that's when I kind of got familiar with the concept of cool flowers. Depending on your growing zone, you can do it two ways. You could either grow them 6 to 8 weeks before your first frost or before your last frost in the spring if you're in a really cold zone. Here in New York City, we're in zone 7, and a lot of those flowers are supposed to overwinter well for me. So it's definitely something that has been in my mind. Now I'm kind of out of time, like always. Usually our first frost date is around November 14th, the estimate. Last year was a little later, so I have to decide this week because this is now 6 weeks before that, even pushing a little closer. But I guess if I have some extra seeds, might still be worth it to do the experiment. So lots of them can be direct sown, some like larkspur, they're just growing back in my pot right now. And also Marshall button and Nigella, I think Bells of Ireland, Rudbeckia. There's a whole list of them. You can do some more research if you like into the subject. There's also a book called Cool Flowers that has all the details of it, but I am thinking that maybe if I do go weed at the plot, I might throw some seeds in there just to see what happens. And I'm going to kind of do them in rows, not just, broadcast it everywhere as I would for a cover crop, just so they don't give a lot of hiding spaces for the rats. Also, they're supposed to overwinter as baby plants anyway, so I don't think they're gonna get that tall. So we'll see. I do have to decide this week, as I said. I have already started some things. Look at this. I have some super tiny snapdragons which don't really do well direct seeded. From what I was reading, it's best to transplant them. But this just happened as sort of a coincidence. Remember on the video that I found out about the rats at the plot, we were taking out the plants in there and I said that I was going to save some seed for some snapdragons that were there? Well, I have some inside drying, and I also just took a pod and then I sprinkled some seed on this little container and lots of them germinated. Now the ones that are here, oops, the sun. The ones that are here now are tiny because I have already plucked out the bigger ones and transferred to this cell pack over here. So those are the Chantilly browns, I believe, the ones that are in all my previous garden tours that I said I loved it and I wanted to grow more of it. So this is my own saved seed. I got the seed, I wanted to see if it was viable, so I threw a little bit in here, a lot more than I thought because snapdragon seeds are tiny. They are germinated, so I know they're good, and since I have them now, I might as well try to plant it. But I am not really trying to spend a lot of time gardening in the winter. If I put these plants in there, they're going to be very low maintenance. I'm going to leave it in there and see how much water they can take, and then we're going to check back in the spring. The green stalks are looking much nicer now with the sun. Look how beautiful that red color is. I also had a couple questions about this basil on my last video, and people are asking me what I'm gonna do with all of this, and I'm planning to actually save seed. I don't remember if I said that on the video or not, but basil is very easy to save seed if you have never done it before. I bet I can find some in here. Let me see in the bottom. So if you can see here, this was a flower pod, got pollinated, and then now it's forming seed. So the seed here is still white. Usually basil seed turns black, I believe. So those are not fully mature yet. Let me see these guys that look a little drier. There you go. Let's see if I can. And these guys here, you see how they're darker? Because now they are mature, and if I plant this in the soil, they'll probably grow. Once they're like brown like this, even better. It's a better sign for the pods. But it's still gonna be a little bit warm here in New York City for maybe a couple more weeks, and I'll leave them be. The bees are not here right now at this moment. It's quite early in the morning, but they usually come and feast on this basil all day. So I'm gonna save for seed, and I'm also going to use the leaves. The flavor of the basil changes a bit once it flowers, but I really don't mind. It's okay with me. So I'm planning to make some pesto and freeze. Pesto freezes very well, and I'm also planning to make some basil salt, which is just dehydrate some basil, mix with some salt, and I use it up through the winter. So that is the plan for this massive basil here. There is only one plant and it's taking almost the whole green stalk. Look at that. So these are the updates for today. I will let you guys know about the plants at the plot. I am planning to go there and clean up this week. Hopefully I can bring my camera with me and film it, and then I'll let you guys know if I planted the seeds there or not. But I also have a couple videos coming up. Last year I filmed some cooking videos, some maple pickled jalapenos that I canned, and some green tomato salsa that I preserved, and never got a chance to edit. So now maybe, because that time of the year again, there'll be a good time to try to put them up. So I'll see if I can get them edited and posted for you guys. And also I'm planning to put away all the seeds that I have saved so far, and I want to make a video about that as well. So if you're curious to see what's growing in the green stalk right now, I'm going to link a video right here where I have sown some seeds there for the fall. Don't forget to check out the sale if you're interested in getting one of those colors. And thank you so much for watching today. I will see you next time.